In a small rural town shadowed by red earth and tall palm trees, a young boy named Pellar lived a quiet life with his parents and little sister, Grace. His father, a hardworking auto mechanic, owned a modest workshop near the town center. Life wasn't luxurious, but it was full of laughter, warmth, and the firm embrace of family. But everything changed the day a land dispute turned violent. Peller's father had inherited a vast piece of farmland on the outskirts of town. Unfortunately, his own brother, Uncle Richard, had always eyed the property with envy. Heated arguments became common, and one fateful night, Peller's parents were found dead in their home. The village buzzed with whispers, but nothing was proven. Their death was ruled mysterious, and just like that, Peller and Grace were orphans. At a young age, Pellar was forced to grow up. The law and culture dictated that Uncle Richard would become their guardian. At first, he acted the part, but within a month, he dropped the facade. One evening, he stood before Pellar with a cold stare and said, "Your father left you nothing. Why should I waste my hard-earned money on you and your sister?" Then he turned his back and never looked back again. Pellar, with tears staining his cheeks, made a vow that night under the stars. "I will never let Grace suffer. I will become something, even if the world is against me." They lived in a dilapidated shed behind their old home, feeding themselves by gathering firewood from the bush and selling it in the market. Every naira counted. While other boys were in school or playing video games, Pellar was barefoot in the forest, chopping wood, his hands blistered and blackened. One day, after a sweaty afternoon of playing football in the dusty field, Pellar's friend Daniel pulled him aside. "Why don't you come to your father's old workshop and learn something?" Daniel asked. "You've got the blood of a mechanic in your veins, bro. Why keep wasting your time in the bush?" The words lit a spark inside Pellar. The very next day, he visited his father's former workshop, now run by Daniel's father, Mr. Stephen. Pellar humbled himself, sweeping floors, passing tools, and watching intently. For the first time in years, he felt like he was standing on solid ground. While Grace stayed home or helped sell goods in the market, Pellar worked from sunrise to sundown. He didn't earn much, but every turn of the wrench reminded him of his father. 3 years passed. By age 16, Pellar had mastered the craft. Mr. Stephen was impressed and one day called him aside. "Son," he said, resting a firm hand on Pellar's shoulder, "it's time you set up your own place. You're not an apprentice anymore. You're a boss." With the little savings he had, Pellar moved to a nearby town and opened a small auto repair shop in a dusty corner lot. His honesty, humility, and skill quickly attracted customers. Soon, his reputation spread across towns. One day, a private school called Silverlight Academy began bringing their fleet of buses and staff cars for repairs. The school had over a dozen vehicles. And Pellar? He handled them all with precision. One hot Thursday afternoon, he went to the school to submit his monthly invoice. As he waited at the reception, children ran across the hallway, laughing in their neatly pressed uniforms. Pellar stood there frozen, his heart suddenly heavy. He remembered Grace. She had never been to school. While others her age recited poems and solved equations, she was trading firewood and eating boiled cassava. Something broke inside him. Driven by emotion, Pellar walked straight into the office of the school's proprietor, Mr. Andrew Wilson. With eyes full of conviction, he said, "Sir, I'm the one who's been fixing all your vehicles, but I have a request." Mr. Wilson looked up, intrigued. "Go on." "I lost my parents because of a land issue. My uncle abandoned me and my younger sister, Grace. She never had the chance to go to school. I fix your cars. I want to do it for free. Just let my sister study here. Mr. Wilson was moved. There was no trace of self pity in Pellar's voice, only fierce determination. You have a good heart, he said finally. Bring your sister on Monday. That Monday morning, Grace stood at the school gate in her new uniform, her eyes wide with awe. Pellar had bought her books, a school bag, and black shoes. As she walked into her first class, Pellar stood outside the gate, tears welling in his eyes. Years passed. Grace blossomed into a brilliant student. At the school's annual prize giving ceremony, she was called to the stage again and again. Scholarships followed. Eventually, she gained admission to study law at the university. And she didn't disappoint. She graduated with distinction and was called to the bar at 25. Then came the reckoning. With the help of a seasoned lawyer, Grace filed a petition against Uncle Richard, demanding the return of all their father's stolen property. The court case shook the town. But that wasn't all. Whispers resurfaced. Old neighbors began to speak. It was rumored that Uncle Richard had poisoned their parents to take their land. Then something strange happened. Uncle Richard began to fall ill, terribly ill. At night, he would scream, saying the ghosts of his brother and sister-in-law were tormenting him. He stopped eating. He muttered things to himself in public. Then, one day in court, he broke down and confessed everything. He had laced their water with poison after a fake reconciliation dinner. He was arrested immediately. The land, the house, and everything that belonged to their parents was returned to Pellar and Grace. Today, Pellar runs a chain of auto workshops in the region and mentors young boys from broken homes, just like he once was. And Grace, she's a respected barrister, still fighting for orphans and the voiceless. And it all began with a boy who didn't let life bury him. A boy named Pellar. Please subscribe, comment your interest for the next part, like, share, and tap the notification button to get notified for more. Thanks for watching.